very lovely good morning and welcome to Camnet TV's Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tapelo Jos Mata. Now, do remember, dear viewer, that this broadcast is live on Topstar Channel 106, YouTube, Facebook, and Kenstream. Please like our socials and be part of this particular discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. You can come through on the number that is displayed on your TV screen, 0973-852700. That's the number you are reaching us on. Please come through and let's have do contribute obviously on this particular program so that you and I can interact wherever you're watching us from the north to the south, east and west. Please feel free to be part of your local community TV station. But right about now, we do have a segment known as the newspaper headlines, where we zoom in the headlines and see what the daily tabloids are saying this morning. And obviously, we'll be waiting for you to come through and give your views regarding the headlines. And also in the headlines, NDC leader Savoy Imboela, she is making headlines. Remember, yesterday it emerged that she was expelled from the United Kwacha Alliance. Now the question that many people are asking, and the question that she's asking as well is, the UKA chairperson is an interim chairperson, so do they have the power to expel her? However, those are their internal political wrangles. However, let's go to a Daily Nation with this headline of Madam Savoy Imboela. Okay, so we go to the Nation. The Nation this morning runs with a screaming headline: Savoy rejects UKA expulsion, but UKA chairman Sakwiba Sikota. Let's go to that particular headline, dear director. But UKA chairman Sakwiba Sikota says he is not interested in shadow boxing with the NDC leader because the decision to expel her has a unanimous resolution by the UKA Council of Presidents, the Alliance top governing body. Okay, that's coming from the United Kwacha Alliance there, courtesy of the Daily Nation. Thank you so much. And on a sad note, veteran politician and lawyer Mr. Roger Chongwe has passed on. In other news, defections to UPND are staged. Kashinga. Do you agree that defections to the UPND are staged? Then in sports, we have Nkana demoted. Now, this particular headline, yesterday it emerged that yes, Nkana was demoted. And obviously, colleagues in the media, we did our due diligence to reach out, and it was discovered that at broadcast time, this particular headline and this particular story was true. And obviously, we had the courtesy of carrying it out, of sharing it rather, on our Facebook page, Camnet TV. However, barely 24 hours, FAZ issued a statement rebutting this particular story, but obviously internal individuals from within FAZ confirmed that this particular story was true, that Nkana was demoted to Division 1, and barely 24 hours, like I said, FAZ refuted this particular story courtesy of their Secretary General, Mr. Ruben Kamanga. I just want to read you the statement that FAZ issued later in the day when this particular story had circulated on different social media platforms. So, FAZ says no Kitwe Derby crowd trouble verdict released yet. Now, in a short, brief statement on their Facebook page, the Football Association of Zambia wrote, the Football Association of Zambia FAZ wishes to dispel media sessions that a ruling concerning crowd trouble during the Kitwe derby between Nkana Football Club and Power Dynamos Football Club played at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium on 20th April 2025 has been released. Kindly treat any reports to the effect as untrue and their content unfounded and malicious. Stakeholders shall be informed in the usual fair standard of communication once all due processes concerning disciplinary matters are conducted soon. Signed, Ruben Kamanga, FAS General Secretary. So, after the story emerged and it was circulated on different social media platforms, and sources obviously were quoted in that particular story who confirmed the authenticity of that particular story. However, FAS did come to the fore, and through their Secretary General, they dispelled that particular story. However, Facebook always has a record of these particular stories, and it has gone viral. Now, let's move on to another daily tabloid. Okay, we go to the Mast, another indigenous daily tabloid right here in Lusaka. CDF, Constituency Development Fund, is licensed theft. It's only shared among UPND members, ACA. Do you agree, dear viewer, that CDF is licensed theft and it's only shared among UPND members? That's the headline on the Mast. Please come through and tell us. Membe calls for unity in opposition. That's the Socialist Party leader and president there, Comrade Fred Membe. Kabwe timber traders to get licenses. How soon are they going to get licenses? That's the question that the timber traders in Kabwe are asking. Yesterday, we saw that they had a meeting. Government issued a statement in Kabwe that they will have a meeting between landowners and the timber traders who protested that their land where they trade from should not be given to land developers because that's where they trade from. And there was a bit of a protest there. However, government says they're dealing with that particular issue, and now it has emerged that Kabwe timber traders to get licenses. We'll follow this story to the latter and see if the Kabwe timber traders will get the proposed licenses. Tobacco bill delay worries Kangombe. Okay, let's go to another daily tabloid, dear director. Okay, we go to the news diggers. Zambia clinches $335 million debt deal as India Exim Bank agrees to restructure. You can't expel me. UKA is not your law firm. Savoy tells Saki. Okay. Savoy Mboela breathing fire there on the UKA chairperson. Don't experiment with leadership. State House. Says State House. Roger Chongwe dies. Okay. Clinging to a politically finished Lungu is not normal. Mufalali. That's the UPND Deputy Chairperson for Elections, Honorable Likando Mfalali, nominated Member of Parliament, formerly UPND Youth Chairman, formerly UPND Youth Chairman, Honorable Likando Mfalali. They are saying clinging to a politically finished Lungu is not normal, Mfalali. Okay. Come through and let's hear your say regarding that particular headline and other headlines that we have aired to you, dear viewer, from our daily tabloids. Now, let's go to this particular story of the NDC leader. Obviously, it's a run over, so we'll be able to show you on the TV screen. We carried it out in our news yesterday, and it's still fresh. It's not yet stale. So, let's have it on the screen, dear director, and see. Okay, so that's a statement there from UKA saying that they have expelled NDC faction leader Savoy Imboela from the alliance. However, she has refuted this expulsion, saying that learned lawyer Sakwiva Sikota has got no legal mandate to expel her from the alliance. Okay, to give us more context and help us understand matters of governance in the country, and obviously matters that have to do with everything that is happening in the country, from politics to football, we have our governance expert, NDOLA-based governance expert, NDOLA-based governance expert, Mr. FABIAN MUTALE, who's going to help us understand some of these matters. Good morning, Mr. MUTALE. How's the copper belt this morning?
The copper belt is lit, as the street lingo would say. I don't know about Lusaka, Mr. Smart.
Lusaka is fantastic. We're enjoying the weather and enjoying the political atmosphere here in Lusaka. It has emerged that Savoy Imboela, NDC leader, has been expelled from the United Kwacha Alliance, known as UKA. Your take, Mr. MUTALE.
Mr. Smata, it was on Camnet TV, live on TV, that
Exactly.
I called the opposition political grouping UKWA.
Okay.
Because I realized it was a bunch of jokers. And when I mentioned that, some sections of society called me an enemy of the opposition, and I did not want anything good about Zambia. In their collective wisdom, those that criticized my statement said the coming together of the opposition was meant for the good of Zambia. But I saw beyond the thinking of the selfish people that are gathered. Remember, this is a grouping that also gave birth to the now Tonka Alliance. So if it were in the Christendom, I should now be called Papa MUTALE, because what I predicted, what I prophesied has come to pass. UKWA is neither here nor there. They are fighting amongst themselves. The same people that said they are grouping for the good of the Zambians. So now what is good for the Zambians now? This now gives me impotence to say there is no opposition in Zambia, but greedy and selfish dealers masquerading as leaders, grouping themselves together for positions, hoping one day they'll get power.
Is that the fair statement, Mr. MUTALE? Let's spend a little bit of time there. Is that a fair statement? We have different opposition political parties. We have the leadership movement under Dr. Richard Slumbe, who at 9 hours will be having a press conference. We also have the Socialist Party under President Comrade Fred Membe. We also have the Citizens First Party under the leadership of Mr. Harry Kalaba. We also have Madam Shalakateka with the New Heritage Party. We also have CPD under Mr. Danny Pule, Dr. Danny Pule. We also have the Patriots for Economic Progress under the leadership of Mr. Sean Tembo and other political parties. Are you calling these individuals not to be politically serious? And are you suggesting that these are not opposition political parties when they have membership and they have participated in different by-elections and they are eyeing Lumezi right now where they want to participate? Mr. MUTALE, is your statement politically correct, if I may ask?
Participation here and there in elections is not a yardstick to measure the seriousness of any political grouping. What shows the seriousness is the agenda you are putting forth to the Zambians as a political grouping. For starters, these are opposition political parties that are coming to the table with different party manifestos. It is now that we've heard that the Tonse Alliance, because of their realization that the Patriotic Front can never be wrestled from Chavinga, because now Mao Sampala given in, the Tonse Alliance now is coming up with a collective, what they are calling a collective manifesto. UKWA, on the other hand, had gathered, and what actually made them disintegrate is jostle for power, jostling for the top position on who was going to be the candidate. I've followed this through these opposition political parties. Remember, in my earlier days of the UKWA, before even the base of Tonse, I said, the people that have formed this political grouping are clinging on the alleged popularity of Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, who they wanted to use his popularity to garner people around themselves. People shot me down. When Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu left the UKWA back, we have seen what has happened. I further said, the people that are in the UKWA back, I mentioned them by name. I won't repeat the names. What membership do they have? What are they bringing on the table to the UKWA back? That are well known, have never participated individually as political parties in any by-election, not to talk about the national elections, because they have perpetually been endorsing candidate A or candidate B from the time they were formed. Not to talk about leadership in provinces, not to talk about leadership in districts or consequences. They are national anchor parties whose presence is only seen on press briefings, and you hear the uncle is the Secretary General, the extended brother-in-law is also a subscriber. These are not serious opposition political parties. Look, I have had time to go to Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue and ask how many political parties are. They're saying Zambia has got over 50 registered political parties. Yes, they are hiding under the veil of saying it's a democracy, people have got the right to form political parties. But what are they forming these political parties for? What is the agenda? If the agenda is to rule Zambia, what are their principles? Because, Mr. Smata, it is not easy for me, if I'm a Democrat, to just switch and become a Republican. On principle, because there are certain barometers that Democrats believe in, there are certain barometers that
the Republicans
believe in. But look at what is happening in Zambia. Today, I can switch a political party in the morning, go to another political party in the afternoon, go to another political party in the evenings without shame, because there is no belief whatsoever. There's nothing, there are no fundamentals that we believe in. That is why every day we are seeing people calling themselves alliances every day. I'll ask you, Mr. Smata, what beliefs did the UKWA have that they disintegrated and formed the Tonse Alliance? What beliefs have changed? Those are questions that Zambians needs to be asking. That is why I've declared myself as an independent presidential candidate for 2026 to provide an alternative as opposed to the jokers in the opposition. If President Hakainde Hichilema, by the end of his term, Zambians feel he has not done as expected, I would rather they look at me as an option than the jokers that we are seeing.
Mr. MUTALE, just there, what are you bringing to the political landscape of Zambia? What is something different that are you going to do? We have the socialist from the Socialist Party. We have the Democrats, obviously, from the Patriotic Front, the Patriots for Economic Progress, Citizens First, New Heritage Party, and others. What are you bringing that is different to Zambia's political landscape?
I'll mention political parties that participated in the 2021 the general election. These are political parties that went to the Zambians, presented their manifestos, which manifestos are still active, because those manifestos were supposed to be running 2021-2026. Tell me, Mr. Smata, any opposition political party that participated in the 2021 election that has gone on the platform, and told Zambians to say, HH has failed in the mining sector. According to our manifesto, this is what we are planned to do if you had elected us. HH has failed in the energy sector. This is what we had planned according to our manifesto if you had elected us. What we are seeing are opposition political parties that are coming to the Zambians and just saying, he promised to reduce the dollar.
Mr. Mutale.
He has failed.
Mr.
They are not
Mutale.
telling the Zambians to say, listen, Mr. Smata, they are not telling the Zambians to say, okay, fine, the dollar is high, and we were promised that the dollar will go down. They are not telling the Zambians to say,
Mr. Mutale.
this is what we are going to do in order
Wait,
to ensure
just
that the
there.
dollar comes down.
Kindly wait.
I want to provide the opposition that will stand up to President Hakainde Hichilema.
Yes, I want you to answer my question.
You have failed on this score. This is what you need to do to better the lives of the Zambians. But if he fails, I will say, this is what I'm going to do for the Zambians. Provide an alternative, not just criticizing.
So, my question is, we won't discuss individuals, obviously, that are not here to defend themselves. It's unethical in itself. So, my question is, since I'm speaking to you, Mr. Mutale, what are you going to do that is different from these other political parties? If they have been calling names, the UPND, what difference are you bringing to the political landscape? Let's begin.
As an opposition, I should understand that my role as an opposition leader is not just to throw mud at the powers that be.
Okay.
It is to appeal to them and provide them an alternative. I'll highlight it to say, for instance, as a FABIAN Mutale, when you elect me as President of the Republic of Zambia, in the mining sector, this is what I've seen wrong, and this is the remedy.
What's the remedy? What's wrong in the mining sector? Let's begin from there.
Sorry?
What's currently what's not being done right in the mining sector that you, as FABIAN Mutale, you are coming to correct? Let's begin from the mining sector, seeing that you are from the copper belt and you know the challenges that the youths, the small-scale miners, the Jawabos, if you like, are currently facing on the copper belt. What are you going to do right in the mining sector? Let's begin from there.
Number one, in the mining sector, I will ensure that selfish individuals in the ministry are kicked out no sooner had I been sworn in, because these are the people that have been lying to the presidency that everything is okay, and yet the Zambians are crying. These are people that have perpetually shifted goalposts to suit themselves and their persons who they get kickbacks from. That is number one. Secondly, because of the resurgence of the mine on the copper belt, of course, some are not to full capacity in terms of production, but at least they light at the end of the tunnel for those mines that were not operational. I'll go further, Mr. Smata, and ensure that we stop looking for investors. We look for investors to partner with government on behalf of the Zambians through the ZDA. We need to identify all the areas where we have heard that there are minerals and there is illegal mining. What we need to do, the best way to empower Zambians is to ensure that all the identified mining areas are put under ZCCMIH, under ZDA, on behalf of the Zambians. What we need to do now is to put up a policy that will say any investor that comes in terms of machinery, because what we may lack as Zambians is machinery and the technological know-how. Any investor that comes into Zambia shall provide machinery, technological know-how, and expertise, and that shall be grouped as 35 or 40% investment from board investors. 60% shall be retained under the XMIH for Zambians and on behalf of Zambians by government, so that these so-called investors, as we partner, we as Zambians, our investment is our land, our minerals, and the labor that we are going to give to the mines, while the so-called investor brings in the money and the machinery. not to go and look for an investor for virgin mines and give them 100%, then we wait for taxes or mineral royalties, which may never come. That is the dimension that I feel we should take, especially for the new discoveries. I call them discoveries because there are a lot of discoveries in terms of gold, in terms of sugilite and other minerals in Zambia, sites which are being exploited by selfish Zambians doing it on behalf of foreigners. That should be rectified.
Okay, let's go to the energy sector, Mr. Mutale. How are you going to address the issues that have to do with Zambia? And also, let's look at the energy sector. I wanted to add something there, but first of all, let's look at the energy sector. We have seen load shedding at an all-time high. Residents are being load shedded for hours on end. And were told that this will stabilize. However, it has continued. People are still
load shedding, Mr. Smarter. If we solely depend on hydropower, I've always said dependence on hydropower has done us a saving.
But is solar sustainable? We have tried solar, and we have noticed that when it's windy, when it's cloudy, it becomes a challenge. Is solar sustainable? We have heard politicians talking about alternative sources of power, such as solar. Have you the politicians always tell us about alternative sources of power, such as solar? But the question is, number one, are you educating or investing in sensitizing citizens so that they know the importance of using solar or the benefits that comes with using solar as an alternative to hydropower?
You have used the correct word, sensitization.
Exactly.
You know, we need a mindset change. Time immemorial, Zambians are used to things that sometimes take long to change their mindset. This issue of solar is exploited, Mr. Smarter.
Okay.
You know, I do research. One of the challenges that Zambia has currently is that we are flooded with substandard batteries. Solar is dependent on the storage of the tapped energy in batteries. As long as there is no policy to ensure that the batteries that are coming in Zambia are standardized, we need to put a standard on the kind of batteries that are coming into Zambia. You are talking about the cloudy aspect in terms of the sun.
Exactly.
There are countries outside Africa that barely have the sun, but they have got solar panels. The little sunlight that they have, even for hours, they have ensured that they tap into it, and the excess but into the national grid.
Mr. Mutale,
what we need to do as Zambia, Mr. Smarter, it is a matter of policy and political will, where the government needs now to put in mechanisms. Since we are diversifying from hydropower to solar energy and other renewable,
but
government needs to come up with a policy. Mr. Smarter, let me exhaust my thought. Government needs to come up with a policy to ensure that everything solar related, beyond zero rating it, to ensure that Zambians benefit, they should make sure that whatever comes in is of high standards, and it won't be worthless for the Zambians.
Mr. Mutale, you, the politicians, especially the Zambian politicians in particular, are known to be sweet talkers. You talk nicely, you talk so eloquently, you articulate issues thoroughly. However, when it comes to the implementation stage, you are graded as failures when it comes to implementing what you pronounce on different platforms. Mr. Mutale, you are telling us that there are countries in the world that barely have sunlight, and they are using solar energy efficiently and effectively. But here in Zambia, we have heard the song of solar panels, installing solar panels, selling excess power to the electricity grid. Nice terms, good semantics. However, when it comes to investing in educating citizens so that they understand what your big language, your big words mean to them and how it can trickle down to that ordinary man in Chipulukusu, to that ordinary citizen in Kamitondo, to that ordinary citizen in Kwachipulukusu. But it's impossible for you to do that, the politicians. But when you come on platforms such as ours, you are so quick to polish your English and tell us that these are the things that are happening elsewhere and you want to implement them in Zambia. However, we are not seeing that happening. How then, as an aspiring presidential candidate, are you going to make sure that you are different from other politicians when it comes to the implementation stage of the ideas that you have?
Mr. Smarter, my leadership when elected will be very different.
How?
And different in the sense that, number one, we shall ensure that Zambia hold us accountable by putting up legislation that benefits the Zambians. What I've noticed in my time of doing politics is that most of the so-called constitutional amendments have all been tailored to suit the politicians and not the Zambians. I want to see a Zambia where the people that we elect to parliament come up with a law that benefits the Zambians. For instance, you talked about sweet-talking the Zambians.
Exactly.
Is there any law that compels the MPs or the councillors to be held accountable at the end of their 5-year term when they fail to deliver what they promised during elections? There is no law. So we need to come up with, if indeed we mean well, for Zambia and the Zambians, the ordinary citizen in Chipukusu, the ordinary citizens in Shamumbo, the ordinary citizen in Maziopa, we need to, as politicians, on up, come up with a registration that compels an MP. For instance, here in NDOLA, if an MP in NDOLA Central or Kabushi, Baramkuba, or indeed Chifugu says, I'm going to do 3 things at the end of my term, I want the politicians to pass a law that compels that person or do an audit after 5 years to say, okay, fine, you promised the same project. Have you carried them out? If no, that law should compel the parliament to deduct from their gratuity and ensure that which they promised, you quantify the project and ensure that from their gratuity you finish the project.
Just hold on.
I'm telling you, Mr. Smart.
Just hold on. Let's make a clarity.
I'm telling you.
Let's make a clarification, Mr. Mutale. Just hold on.
About solutions to end life.
Just hold on there. Just hold on, Mr. Mutale. When you say politicians that aspire to be members of parliament in whatever constituency they decide to contest in, you are saying we need to come up with a law that compels the executive to deduct from their gratuity if they do not if they do not fulfill what they promised. Yes. Are we missing the role of a member of parliament? From my knowledge is that they need to go into parliament to lobby the executive to come up with if the executive proposes a law or brings a bill to parliament, the duty of parliamentarians is to debate that law, agree or disagree with that particular bill that has been brought to parliament, whether it needs to be enacted into law or not. Number one. Now, if you say members of parliament are going to, we need to deduct from their gratuity because they did not fulfill what they promised. The role of the member of parliament is not to bring development to you. The role of the member of parliament is to go in parliament to pass laws on behalf of the Zambian people. You and other members of parliament are missing the point, Mr. Mutale.
When you want to run the country in that manner, you as a citizen, then you are failing the masses. beyond the role of a parliamentarian to make laws in parliament, which is correct. They have got a duty to lobby for development.
Exactly, exactly.
During campaigns,
but you are talking of fulfilling campaign promises.
When they make promises, they don't make promises to say, I'm going to make laws in parliament. They make promises to say, I'm going to develop this area. You are lacking in water integration.
And that's how they mislead the Zambian people.
They know.
That's how they mislead the Zambian people, because that's not their role. That's the role of local government. The role of a member of parliament is to go in parliament to lobby government, to lobby the executive, to lobby central government, to bring development, not a member of parliament single-handedly or as an individual to bring development. And you, the politicians, including you, Mr. Mutale, you have continued telling the Zambian people that you bring development to them. However, when you occupy that particular office, you discover that it's a different ballgame. And you can't go back to Zambian people and tell them that what I've found and what I promised are not in tandem. Where is transparency there? How are the Zambian people going to hold you accountable when your promises which you made, which were at the time of making them, you didn't know that your office doesn't mandate you to do some of the things that you are promising? How do you go back to Zambian people and be transparent?
In essence, you are telling me to say we send wrong people to National Assembly because if they know their role as the legislature,
your words not mine, Mr. Mutale.
They should not be making promises as they campaign.
Exactly.
You mentioned it to say one of the roles of the parliamentarians is to lobby the executive. Correct, and I agree with you. Now, how do they lobby the executive? Listen to this. How do they lobby the executive? Number one, the executive itself has made a number of allocations to constituencies. For instance, under Parliament, we know the Constituency Development Fund, which is now being spoken about and increased in figures. Under the council, there's what we call ward allocation for the councillors, whose money also goes to the constituencies. Now, the issue here is, Mr. Smata, is the issue here is not about parliamentarians not getting money from the executive. The issue here is when you are committing yourself to the people, you should be held accountable. Whether your role is to enact laws in parliament, number one, we should also know that as you enact those laws, they should be laws that benefit the people that elected you. That's what I'm proposing to say. If the executive has not brought a bill to talk about holding MPs accountable and getting part of their gratuity to finish projects which they promised, I'm talking about what they promised. What they promised, underlying that word. There are also what we call private members bill. If those people mean well for the Zambians, a private members bill can be put on the table of the house, on the floor of the house, and be debated. That is what I'm talking about. Because you cannot make promises and hide behind the veil to say my role is to register and just lobby government. If government does not provide, then that's it.
Exactly.
Then you are a wrong leader. Then you are a wrong leader, because as I aspire to stand, I understand the inequities of the executive.
But
I understand the inequities of the council. My role now is to ensure that I help on behalf of the people that have elected me to source for development. For instance, I talked about lobbying. Lobbying does not just mean you go to the parliament or to the executive. There are a lot of non-governmental organizations that deal with, for instance, boreholes. There are a lot of private entities that can help communities, that have been helping communities. That is lobbying. For instance, here in NDOLA, when you have issues with roads, there are a lot of quarries on the copper belt, companies that deal with it.
But it's not your duty as a member of parliament.
No, look here. When you promise, you know why you are promising.
Yours is to lobby the central government, Mr. Mutale. Yours is to lobby the central government.
We need to, as Zambians,
through the executive arm of government.
We need to change the mindset. Starting with you, Mr. Smarter. Once we start focusing on government all the time, then we are failing ourselves. What is our role as a citizen?
Wait.
What is my role? Individual role. What am I doing for my country?
This is how you mislead the Zambian people, you, the politicians, because you come up with unrealistic promises. You come up with your own crafted laws. I don't know where you craft them from. You come up with them, but when you get into that office as a councillor, as a member of parliament, then you realize that whatever you've been telling the Zambian people is actually not true. It's not your job as a member of parliament to go and construct a road in Kwanabwadia. It's not your job as a member of parliament to go and build or erect a borehole. Yours is to lobby and pass laws in parliament, and this the Zambian people need to be told, because even the aspiring candidates right now that are aspiring to stand are telling people to say, I'll bring roads, I'll bring drainages, I'll make sure children go to school, and yet that's not your job.
Zambians are no longer gullible, and no politician will stand on a platform and cheat them anymore.
So let me you as politicians, you need to begin to tell the Zambian people the truth. Unlike crafting laws in your own, I don't know where you craft them from, but when you form government, you discover that whatever you've been promising the Zambian people is not what is what that office mandates you to do. When are the Zambian people going to be told the truth?
That is why, Mr. Smarter, for me, I'm appealing to the Zambians to say, beyond what we have experienced as Zambians, me inclusive, you inclusive, we have realized the inadequacies of the so-called leaders that we put in these offices. Okay. So it is time we now did an introspection and analyzed leaders based only how we have related with them locally. Let us localize leadership. If a person in the community has been there for the community, ensuring that each and every activity in the community is done correctly, those are people who should look up to.
When you say a person has been there for people in the community, what do you mean? What do you mean? They've been funding funerals. They've been funding teaching parties. They've been holding football tournaments. Is that what you're talking about?
Let me qualify my statement.
Is that how you measure development, or a developmental leader, or a transformational leader?
The needs of every community is different. So you cannot go to a community, for instance, here in NDOLA, you go to Kansenshi or North Ries and tell them to say, no, here you need a borehole, when they have piped water in their home.
No, Kansenshi, of course, has got piped water. It's a residential area, Mr. Mutale.
Look here, I'm talking about the community. I want you to qualify. Can I qualify?
Please, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm saying each community has got its needs. You cannot go to Kansenshi and North Rise and tell the people to say, I'll sink a borehole for you. Then you are misplaced. What the people of Kansenshi and North Rise, most of whom have got either boreholes at their household or they have got piped water, you need to go to them and talk about issues, for instance, street lighting. How are we going to do it as a community? Remember, I'm talking about community involvement. If in a street there are 10 houses, you go to a household and say, look here, as a community, if each household put a light outside their orphans, if they have a orphan, these streets will be lit. Everyone will tap into. And now, what you need to do as a leader, you say, okay, fine. Since we are talking about Vesco power, those that don't have solar, we have got load shedding. How are we going to help each other as a community so that our streets are lit? You say, okay, fine, the government is saying we need to go solar. How much is a solar pole and a solar light for each street? That is what I'm talking about, community involvement.
Okay, community-based interventions. Mr. Mutale, let me stop you there. We need to go. We've gotten your point. Thank you so much. for coming through to this particular program via phone, of course. But let me give you 30 seconds to talk and speak to the Zambian people out there. It's the largest constituency at the end of the day. As an aspiring presidential candidate, before I forget, a minute, I'm giving you a minute. You are a soccer enthusiast. You've got your own preferred candidate as regards those that are contesting the FAS presidential seat. Let me give you a minute to highlight some of the happenings in FAS and what is going to take place on Saturday during the AGM. Under a minute,
actually,
we need to go.
It's not Saturday. It's tomorrow, actually.
It's tomorrow, Friday. Okay.
It's tomorrow in Kabwe, yes. And I'm
Exactly.
actually headed there. Now, Zambians, my appeal is to the councillors.
Okay.
They have seen in the leadership, the current leadership of us, the achievements and their inadequacies.
Okay.
What should come out strongly is the accountability. Remember, in every leadership, number one should be accountability. If there are leaders that don't want to be held accountable for anything, then you should smell a rat.
Okay.
FAS in its current form needs change. I appeal to the councillors, let them go to Kabwe tomorrow and ensure that they put in a leader that has been investing in football and not benefiting from football.
Okay.
Let us look at candidates that have been investing in football and not benefiting in football. I think that is my take on the first AGM. And generally now, to the Zambians, the hallmark of a great leader is measured on the decision they make in dire times. And this is why I'm saying, currently, we have no opposition that can stand up to President Hichilema, because the foundation is laying now. If we disturb it, we are going to have a disaster in Zambia. Some of the leaders that want to come back are people that want to come back and finish where they ended. So
we
let's
need
open our eyes,
to go.
Zambians.
We need to go, Mr. Mutale. We need to go. Thank you so much, Mr. Mutale, good governance expert there, NDOLA based. Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Mutale. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Camnet TV.
Okay, fantastic. And dear viewer, do remember that the views expressed on this particular program does not reflect in any way does not reflect the views of Camnet TV and its affiliates. Please do take note. I have been your host, Tapelo Joe Smata is my name, and do remember that we are broadcasting live on Topstar channel 106, Facebook, YouTube, as well as can stream up as Camnet TV. My dear director upstairs, Mr. Lesa, thank you so much. We'll see you when you see us. Good morning and God bless.